love how this is kind of like gaining color as you play through the game. I think that is a very cool touch. Just wanted to show that. Oh! I was gonna say, why is Lawrence all bloody? I guess because we got all of his endings. What's up, homie? You're really freaky. He's dancing. Okay, so we literally have gotten 4 fucking endings out of like 5 kajillion. So we've got our work cut out for us. Okay, so a lot of people were saying that I honestly just need to be kind of mean to him. And I just know that it's gonna be really difficult because I'm such a nice, compliant person. I'm just so nice and meek, and I just really like doing everything that they asked me to do. And now I have to like actually be mean to him. And I love him. He's my favorite and he can do no wrong. So what's going on with your ears, homie? I try not to stare too much, but are they some sort of costume? Oh no, they're my real ears and tail. I know it's probably kind of weird to see. I'm sort of a beastkin. I guess my confused expression urged him to continue. We're mostly just like humans. I can hide the ears and tail if I want, but someone once told me, you shouldn't hide who you are. Whoops, I'm rambling. Was it me? Before you got me fucking murdered? What the hell is this thing on my neck, bitch? Are you crazy? You can't just chain people up. I'm not an animal. Chaining me up like this just makes you look like a little bitch. I mean, oh no, that felt horrible to say. Fuck you. Oh, he kicked me in the chest. Okay. Fuck your food. I don't want your shit. Get wrecked. Oh, he shocks me again. How long are we going to stay here? Let's go exploring. I'm gonna take the knife. And we're just gonna go ahead and do it and be crazy pants. Hey, Cece. Oh, what is this outfit change? You fell asleep. Isn't this the outfit that he wore when he was Strade's pet? Captive? I don't know. I look up blearily at Ren, and I've been thinking, you've been getting a little out of hand. What? I sat up straight. This little bastard thinks he's gonna shock me again? Look, it's for your own good. I saw him reach for the remote in his pocket. No! Without thinking, I leapt at him. He barely managed to dodge me, ducking low. We were both thrown off balance. He growled quietly and looked at the floor. You. He reached for the chain! I saw him eyeing the chain at our feet and lunged for it myself. Oh, shit! Okay, this actually makes me a little bit uncomfortable because he looks like a tiny baby. He looks like he's 8 years old, and I do not feel good about choking an 8-year-old to death. I grabbed the chain and slammed it into his neck, pinning him down to the ground. Ha! He squirmed under me, trying to claw at me while I pressed the chain down harder. He couldn't claw hard enough to make me stop. I knew I couldn't let up. I kept pressing as he got weaker. After one last desperate attempt to claw me, he slumped down. I watched for a moment as his ear twitched. He's out cold, but he's alive. guess to be the bully. Squish him. I pressed the chain back down. How long can someone live without oxygen? 3 minutes? I kept my weight on the chain. I stayed there maybe for 10 minutes or more. He couldn't fight me. I finally slowly moved the chain. I pressed a finger to his neck to be sure. I killed him. I stood up shakily. It's over. He looked even smaller on the floor like that. I shook my head. This was his fault. It didn't take me long to find his remote and key. I freed myself, tossed the collar on him, and walked out the door. I rubbed my neck and stared out into the sunshine darkly, but I didn't look back. Choked Ren to death, and it felt horrible. Oh, no. Okay, so I'm gonna take the collar. I leaned over his softly breathing body. And I'm taking this. I pulled the small remote from his pocket. I looked it over. Not complicated, but not labeled either. I sure as hell knew what the big red button did. Slider probably has something to do with strength. I fiddled with the 2 remaining buttons, too fed up to be cautious. I heard a soft click. I reached up. It's open. I grinned down at the open collar. Then I focused on Ren. I mean, is it even a discussion? I leaned down and clicked the collar closed around his neck. I couldn't help but smile at the feeling of victory it gave me. I sat back on the couch and relaxed. I played with the remote and put my feet up on the coffee table. I can't wait to see his face when... Oh? Ren stood slowly, clutching his head. Yep, he looks exactly like he did in the first game. He finally looked my way. He seemed to be remembering. I flashed him a triumphant grin as he noticed the collar on my neck was absent. He touched the collar on himself. Oh no. Oh yes. He cowered, seeing the remote in my hand. Now unchain me. Okay. He shuffled awkwardly and retrieved a small key. Then he bent down to unlock the shackle around my ankle. It fell to the floor with a soft thump. Ren saw it too and took a step back. Let's see how this works. Oh, tail's all bushy. He whimpered and shrank back from me. How does that feel? It hurts. Yeah. He sniffed and wiped his face. I'm sorry. Fuck off. Now you're sorry. His voice was sounding desperate. I shouldn't have pushed you like that. Bitch. Oh, you're sorry now? I leaned back. Now that the collar's on your neck, you're not sorry. Yet. I watched him begin to tremble. What are you gonna do to me? What do you want? I definitely don't want that. Obedience. Hey, you're the one who brought me here. And you can keep me here. But you're going to have to do what I say. Not the other way around. I waved the remote lazily to illustrate my point. Got it? Yes, Cece. Good. I leaned back and relaxed. And I'm getting hungry. I'll cook something. He ran to the kitchen and I sighed in contentment. This is much better. You kept Ren. I mean, I don't really feel good about this ending, though. I don't feel good about that one. So let's be nice to him, I guess. Thank you, Ren. I appreciate it. He seemed surprised, but he appeared to relax a tiny bit. You're welcome. It's okay. It's all right. He looked at me cautiously. I accept your apology. He started to look hopeful. What are you gonna do to me? What do you want? Oh, now I have a new option. Love. What? I want the same thing you want. I lowered the remote. I just want someone to be with. I had trouble thinking of the right words. You want to be with me? Yes. You don't need to shock me or chain me, Ren. I like you. And I want to get to know you better. Oh my fucking God. What is this? What is this picture? He jumped at me and I yelped in surprise. Thank you. I won't let you down. I stayed with him that night. I didn't see any reason to leave. Okay, that one was not as horrible. Like, I just want to, like, give you a quick little stab to the gut and then peace out. I don't want to, like, keep anybody or torture them or be the gross person. So, I guess we just have to... I don't want to. I don't want to. But I guess we're gonna have to. What? I held up the remote. You heard me. You want me? On your knees. I moved my legs apart to give him room. He nestled between my thighs and looked eager. I laid the remote to the side and reached for his head. Yikes. Yep, that turned out about how I expected. Okay, so there was an option here where I could spare him. So I guess let's do that. Shitty little weasel. I knew I could finish him off easily, but whatever. I tossed the open collar on the floor. I don't need to kill him. I took a step and remembered the chain still on my ankle. Ugh. I rummaged through Ren's other pockets until I found the small key. I hastily unlocked the shackle and kicked the damn chain off. I turned and approached the front door. I paused for a second. Then I opened the door and walked through. It's over. I breathed in the sun and never looked back. I did it. So I guess now I'm gonna do all of that again where I'm a jerk, but then instead of doing the QuickTime event, I'll just kind of let it run out and see what happens. Okay. I tried to grab the chain on the floor, but I stumbled. I kicked at him, trying to wrestle him away. He was too fast for me to stop him. He grasped the chain and slung it around my neck. I stumbled and fell back to the floor. I tried to kick him off, but he had better leverage. He kept moving and pressing the chain tighter. I rasped out an angry grunt as I tried to strike him. He dodged me easily. My arms were getting heavier. I couldn't suck in a breath. I don't need you. He heaved all of his weight down on the chain. I don't need anyone. Soon, even my eyelids were too heavy. I felt my head fall to the side. He never stopped squeezing. Fine. So I'm trying to do the middle path, like not necessarily the most asshole-ish option, but also not the nice option. Just kind of like right down the middle and see how far I can get with that. Okay, so now I have the option to give the knife to Ren and just kind of like hang out instead of having to go through that. Don't remember if we did that before. I don't think we did, but I squeezed my eyes shut and surrendered the knife to Ren. I suppose I should be more flexible. He took the knife and moved behind Lawrence. He moved the knife gently against the skin of Lawrence's neck. I didn't think you'd be so delicate. I couldn't tell if he was talking about me or Lawrence, but I didn't dare make a sound. Ren's arms moved suddenly, swiftly. He plunged the knife into Lawrence's arm. He lurched forward with a muffled scream. Ren looked up at me excitedly. His eyes seemed more like an animal's now. I just kept watching, frozen in fear. He was breathing harder. He twisted the blade and grinned, showing his fangs. I couldn't move. This can't be real. How do you feel? How do I feel? I moved my lips, but no words escaped them. I feel great. He wrenched the knife from Lawrence's shoulder and over his neck. Answer me. I forced myself, straining against the fear like a nightmare. I'm scared. Once the dam broke, the words flowed out of me. This is wrong. Can't you see he's in pain? I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want this. Ren laughed softly. That's better. I closed my eyes and sighed in relief. That relief lasted only a second before I heard a muffled scream. I felt helpless once again as I watched him plunge the blade into Lawrence's gut. I couldn't look away. I watched him drag upwards as blood spilled out. His organs. I couldn't close my eyes. I saw Lawrence's eyes, Ren's, and everything slowly slipping out of him. He's still alive. He's still... I must have stopped breathing. See, it's okay. Just take that opportunity to cut his goddamn arms and legs off, and he'll be just right as rain. Because apparently that's how that works. I blacked out. Okay. And then we're gonna keep underpants. Oh. So my sanity is low enough that I can say I liked that he carved a fucking heart on me. Yay. Oh. I knew you'd understand. He beamed at me. I do understand. My bloody chest was stinging, but it felt warm too. I need power tools. My eyes widened with worry as he ran up the basement stairs. But I looked around at all the tools in the basement. Why did he go upstairs? When he returned, I stared in confusion for a moment. Oh. Not building tools. I gotcha. Then I recognized the object in his hand with a deep blush. That's a vibrator. He knelt back over my legs, running his hand over my thighs. I squirmed a bit out of shyness. You've been so good. I want you to feel good too. Yikes. Ren, I love you. I don't know why. At this point, it still is any kind of surprise that's the outcome of this. I love you too. He rubbed his head on my neck and dug his claws in again. And I'll never let you go. He'll never, ever let you go. Okay, so I went all the way through the same choices, but then instead of doing the crazy, yes, it was great option, I was just like, dude, this sucks. And then I went crazy. I could feel myself pulling. Everything hurt so much. I felt like my mind was on fire. He did this to me. I looked up. Ren. I was breathing harder. Everything on fire. He made me feel. Cece, what are you doing? What was I looked down again. I was rubbing my knees together like a cricket. Uh-oh. More torture, please. Wait, did I just die? It said I sank wordlessly into the darkness. I'd found what I needed. A weak smile crossed my features as I slipped into unconsciousness. I knew when I'd woke up I'd do anything for more. Well, I didn't die. So last time we had the fork, we never really asked for a knife when he gave us the food, so it's worth a shot. For the steak? I suppose it would be pretty hard to eat with just a fork. Ooh, so I get a knife? He came back quickly, beaming and holding out a knife and fork. I took it quietly and looked down at my meal. It seemed awkward to eat in front of someone like this. Oh, so I can attack him? I wonder if anything can happen from that now that I have the knife. Now I've got a weapon. I need him a little closer. Ren, there's something in my potatoes. Really? My heart was hammering in my chest. He leaned in much closer. Perfect. I swiped for his neck. Did I get it? Ah, you. I instinctively leaned away. He was so fast. He was bristling. You're lucky. I have more patience than he did. Wait. Yeah, I guess. I gasped and fell back against the chair. My plate, the food, and the knife all clattered to the ground. Looks like you're going hungry tonight. I looked down at the mess dully. He gathered up the plate and utensils. Then he turned to take them to the kitchen with a frustrated sigh. I considered pulling my knees to my chest while I waited. Oh, yeah. Can't. Don't you dare try to attack me again. Okay. I woke up with a deep feeling of dread. Then I realized where I was and it doubled. Hey, Cece. I couldn't get Lawrence's face out of my head, and by the looks of it, neither could Ren. There was a tense silence before Ren finally spoke. I thought it would be easy. Not really. I looked at him questioningly. Killed someone. Not before Lawrence. What about the guy in the basement? What? How did you... I went in the basement when you were gone. And I saw. Well, you know. He looked flustered and scared. I didn't kill him. His chest just combusted. It just exploded from the inside. That wasn't Ren's fault. He died by himself. Just exploded. I remember the man in the freezer. All that blood and his chest. He couldn't have done that to himself. How did he die? There's no way he did that himself. Ren huffed with frustration. He made a mistake. It was one of his... He brought a friend home. A friend. We were not friends, sir. Well, not a friend. He hurt people. And they stabbed him in the neck. We did do that. They both died. I do remember that ending. I furrowed my eyebrows. They both died? What? I tried to think it over for a moment. It wasn't adding up. I looked back at Ren. But his chest. He was already dead. Did you eat his heart or something? What'd you do? And I realized Ren was breathing harder, and I leaned away from him. I wanted a part. After all the things he did, I deserved it. I needed a piece of him to take with me. And he looked so good, still warm. So I just cut him open. It's not like he'd feel it. And I got it. I ate it. My eyes widened. Ate what? What do you mean, ate what? I yelped as Ren snapped at me. Probably did it literally, too. I am not human. I ate his heart. I stumbled backward, trying to get away from him. I know what you're thinking, Cece. Oh no, how terrible, how disgusting. Does that sound right? Yeah. I shook my head quickly. Shook it like this. I've decided that I don't really need to hear what you think anymore. Uh-oh. Oh shit, we're almost dead. The pain shot through my body like fire. I was only dimly aware that I'd fallen back and that Ren had pounced on top of me. Oh my God! I can't move. I tried to scream as he dug claws into my chest through my shirt. I only managed terrified, choked wheezes as he tore through the material and flesh. I had nothing left to fight with. I could only stare in dull horror as he pulled the deepest part of me out. Well, let's not do that. Let's not do that one again. Oh, wondering about his scars. Yeah, they got a knife and stabbed him in the neck. He hurt people? Ren looked uncomfortable. Well, he said that's how you can really know someone. I squinted at Ren. Like, really, really know them. So yeah. Sometimes he hurt people. Sometimes he killed people. I remembered the basement and the stains on the floor. I feel like this one's gonna piss him off. His fur bristled. No. Weak people die. Strong people live. That's how it works. Isn't he dead, though? That was a stupid mistake. It wasn't fair. He took a few deep breaths, looking like he was trying to hold back tears. He was the only one. He took care of me. It looks like he only hurt you. He couldn't hold back his tears anymore. That's not true. No one ever cared about me like that. He loved me. Ugh. Ren sniffed and slouched, shrinking down. And now that he's gone, I've never felt more empty. He started sobbing. Why did I mean, we can just go ahead and go for the death. He didn't love you. I felt a pit of dread in my gut as I knew I'd done something wrong. He raised the remote. I tried to run, but it was too late. I fell to the floor. I gasped for air. I didn't have time to beg before he pressed it again. Eventually, the pain stopped. Yeah, that makes sense. What did you do? I asked him cautiously. Quietly, almost a whisper. I could tell he was unstable. Dangerous. Ren sniffed and lifted his head. I didn't do anything. I looked at him confused. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. He told me to help him. He even begged me. But I didn't do anything. I could only think of the things he did. Why didn't I help him? Because he is a fucking monster. You don't need him. What? You never needed him. Of course I did. I didn't have anything before him. My family hates me. I didn't have any friends. He was the only... Stop. What? You're alive now, right? Yeah, I guess. You've done that with and without him. You don't need him. And you don't need me. But you've been through pain. But you don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. So why not wait and find out? I don't want any more pain. I'm scared. That's okay. The future is scary. But it can be fun, too. You're only gonna get one chance at this, Ren. I tensed up as he raised the remote. Bro? Oh, okay. But instead of a shock, I heard a quiet click. The collar popped open and fell to the floor like a dead weight. Please, just go. Before I change my mind again. I paused for a moment. Then I grabbed a pen and paper off the coffee table. I'm going to leave. But I want you to have my number. I want to be your friend. For real. Call me, and we can do something fun together. Something we both like. Not killing people would be preferable. He nodded silently. I can't know what the future holds either, but I'm willing to find out. Aw, now we're besties for the resties. He was a murderer. A monster. You're right. Ren looked up at me warily. And so am I. Uh-oh. And then he's gonna kill me. Anyways, okay. Well, it's okay now. The past is all over. I reached for him slowly and pet his hair. He accepted it and seemed to calm down a little. I'm here now. And I like it here. You do? And I like you. I'm sure it looks strange, someone in a chain and collar petting their captor. Yes. But I didn't care. I'll take care of you. He relaxed. I'll take care of you too. He crawled onto the couch with me. I heard the soft clinking of the chain on the floor. But it didn't bother me. How are we going to take care of each other if I have a chain and an electric collar on? So I just didn't say anything this time. Ren continued to shake silently for a few moments. When he finally spoke again, his voice was soft and even. Now he's gone, and I've been trying to replace him, but I can't. You're nothing like him. What a mistake. Everything I do is a mistake. I deserve to be alone. He raised the remote. I didn't have time to react. Is he just gonna shock me to death again? Guess not. I woke up and looked around. The living room was becoming familiar to me. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I looked down and noticed that I was no longer chained to the wall. I reached up. No collar either. Ren? I searched around the room and yelled louder. Ren? No reply. Just silence. I searched the entire house and waited, but he never came back. Adios, Ren Chacho. Now I have the house of horrors. So I guess I'm not gonna call him a psycho this time. I've been calling him a psycho like this entire time. I have you now. He shook his head. Look at me, getting all worked up about the past. His worried expression was only partially replaced by a strange smile. I don't need to worry about him anymore. And you don't need to worry about anything. You'll never leave me. I won't let you die. I'll take care of you. Forever. Cool. That was a whole lot of endings just from that, like, one dialogue tree. Why is there a bird? Why is there a dead bird there? Okay, so I forgot that there was another thing we could do on this one. Definitely didn't want sex. We did obedience. So I guess we'll do blood? See what happens? Blood? What do you mean? I looked to the side. I think we should go to the basement. I looked back at him to see he'd gone completely still. How do you think I didn't see down there? I narrowed my eyes at him. I saw your dirty little secret down there too. He looked terrified. I couldn't help but feel a bit of elation watching him squirm. I raised the remote. Now. I'm not going back down there. He was panting and trembling. Don't make me do it twice, Ren. He whimpered and turned to walk toward the stairs. I got up to follow and watched him walk silently, slouching in front of me. He paused on the stairs and I nudged him forward. Please, sit. He kept whimpering softly and obeyed. I looked around the basement for something to tie him. I easily found some rope and tied his limbs behind the pole to the middle of the basement. Judging by the stains, he was not the first person who sat here. I looked down at him. He's still crying. Again, I don't like it. I don't like when I'm in this position. I don't like it. It makes me feel icky. I just want to get out. Just a simple, just like And then peace out, homie. So I guess we'll just do the dick thing and then work our way up. Ren. He kept sobbing. Stop crying. I held the remote up for him to see. He squirmed and cried harder. All right. He slumped down, no longer making any noise. Better. I stood up straight. Now that you're settled. I looked around the musty basement. So many tools. Everything looked like it would hurt. There's too much to pick from down here. I looked over the walls and through cupboards. Saws, hammers, axes, knives. I chuckled softly as I spotted a pair of well-worn black leather gloves. I like these. I rummaged through drawers and eventually narrowed it down to 2. Something brutal, something personal. Let Ren choose. That's fucked up. Ugh, I don't like it. My eyes settled on a nail gun. Ooh. Big, loud, and high power. Shoot him in the shoulder even though you said you won't. This is the way to go. I turned back to Ren and smiled, brandishing the gun. How about this? His eyes widened at the tool and he squirmed against the pole. I could hear his nails scratching on the floor like an animal. Maybe I should take care of that first. I wonder if the nail will make it through the floor. Only one way to find out. I advanced on Ren, then held one of his legs. His begging became wordless whining. His skin felt a little cold. I pressed the gun to the top of his foot. You wanted to share something special with me, Ren. He looked up at me. Ugh. I pulled the trigger and listened to him scream. Come on, Ren. We're just getting started. I don't like that. I want this to end. He tried to pull his foot back and yelped in pain. The nail really did go down into the concrete. This thing is pretty heavy duty, huh? I licked my lips. I grasped his free foot and positioned the gun. Ugh. I want to stop. I don't want to do this. We're well past the point of begging. Don't you think? I held the tool up to his upper arm and fired another nail. Ugh. His screams were getting hoarser, but I felt like he hadn't had nearly enough. I don't like it. I gripped his other arm, firing wildly and breathing unsteady. I stopped to catch my breath. He wasn't screaming anymore. I examined his arm. His arms were so thin that the industrial nails went right through to the other side. He was shivering and staring blankly. I tapped his face with the gun. Ren. He turned his eyes to me but barely responded. I'm not finished. I looked him over and settled on his fuzzy ear. Aw. When I grabbed it, he flinched and made a choking grasp. Oh. I fired it through his ear. It was so soft and thin that the nail went through it entirely and ended up on the floor somewhere. He made a last pathetic sob before his head drooped. I don't think he can take any more. Just end it. Ugh. If he did, he didn't care. It just makes me feel icky. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not sad for Ren because he tortured me. But, like, I don't want to be a torturer. I don't want to torture him back. Just get out of there. So instead of killing him, I could just patch him up and be, like, I feel like that's an even more evil option. I laid the nail gun down. I think he's learned his lesson. I checked his neck. He's alive, just unresponsive. I didn't have to search hard to find medical supplies. I pulled the nails out of his skin slowly. He kept shivering, but he didn't make a sound. I smiled at the blood welling up from his holes left behind. We did share something special. I held his chin up so he could see me. I understand what you meant now. I disinfected his wounds and wrapped bandages around every one. Do you want to go back upstairs now? He looked at me and nodded slowly. I put my arm around him and helped him up. I'm glad you found me, Ren. I gave him a little squeeze as I pulled him up the stairs. We're going to have so much fun together. Like that. So I guess this time we'll do something personal. In one of the drawers, a dull shine caught my eye. Huh. It was a large hunting knife. It looked a little out of place among all these tools. I turned and showed it to Ren. "What do you think?" He visibly paled and went still. I walked closer, interested by his reaction. "All these saws and hammers, and you're scared of this knife?" He tried to shrink away from me, but the pole held him fast. I wanted to be closer to him. I crouched down and held the knife where he could see it. I looked over his arms and legs. "You know, you've got an awful lot of scars." I saw more tears roll down his cheeks. "Is that why you're so worried about this?" I wiggled the knife. He curled up as much as he could. "Hey!" I grabbed his hair and pulled his head back up, eliciting a yelp. "I asked you a question." "Yes. That knife. It's been used on you before?" He nodded once. "By who?" His eyes flickered toward the freezer. "Him?" "Well," I pressed the knife against his cheek. "I'm not gonna end up like that freezer-burnt bitch." You know what? He is. He is a freezer-burnt bitch. I grinned approvingly at the 2 shades of red. "Please." I grabbed his ankle and pulled his bare leg straight. I plunged the blade into the meat of his upper thigh. He screamed, and the blood began to drip from the wound. I was suddenly overcome with a strange feeling of jealousy. Jealousy? These other marks weren't made by me. I held down his leg and pulled the sharp edge through an old scar. He screamed and writhed under my grip. "But your blood is mine now." Ren lifted his teary face to look at me. "What?" I watched it flowing, warm and pooling around his soft skin. I cut him again, deeper. His cries were becoming weaker as I became more entranced. I wanted to replace every one of his scars. I stopped for a moment and looked down at Ren. He was covered in blood. He began to shiver quietly. "Ren." He didn't respond. I pressed the tip of the knife into his flesh again. "Ren." Nothing. I checked for his pulse. He's alive, but I looked at all the blood gathering on the floor. I don't think he can take any more. So again, I could just kill him or I could put him together. There's only one way to make him really mine, forever. His ears twitched as he slowly raised his head. He looked at me, almost completely broken. It looked like every word was a monumental struggle to him. "Help me." I looked down at him, and I didn't do anything. Okay. So I guess let's patch him up this time. I can't just let him die like this. I put the knife down. Then I'll never get to replace all of his scars. I didn't have to search hard to find medical supplies. Yep, and then cleaned him up, retrieved a needle and thread from the supplies. Some of these are pretty deep, huh? I asked him sheepishly and received no response. I shrugged and got back to work. I carefully sewed his larger gashes up. It was sort of relaxing. He kept shivering, but he didn't make a sound. We did share something special. I held his chin up so he could see me. "I understand what you meant now." I wrapped gauze over his limbs. "Do you want to go back upstairs?" "Yep, just take him upstairs." Alright, so this is the last one of the choices. A heavy-powered nail gun, or I turned over a knife I found in a drawer. I admired the glint of my reflection in it for a moment before facing Ren. "What do you think, Ren?" God, we must look exactly like Strade with these choices. It's just like knife or nail gun. Shit, remember when he made us choose? Ugh. I held up both options for him to see. He looked at the nail gun, seeming to need a moment to figure out what it was. Then his gaze settled on the knife and he stopped breathing for a moment. His eyes were wide as if he'd seen a ghost. "Come on, Ren." He snapped back to reality. "Oops, there's ghost gravity. If you can't choose, I'll use both." "The knife." "Speak up." "The knife." He looked back down and trembled. "Good choice." I wanted to be closer to him. Okay, so he just has the knife. So this is right after we kill, or the choice that I made, he killed Lawrence. And I just kind of was like, no thanks. And I can be like, I'm sorry, you're right. I lowered my head. I can't leave now. Not after what I... Don't worry, Cece. We've got this whole house, plenty of money. I'll take really good care of you. He crooned softly as he ran fingers through my hair. Why don't we take it easy for the rest of the day? I looked up at him. For some reason, I wanted to cry. I've got movies and I can make popcorn. He patted me before I could respond. Just sit tight. I sat there in stunned silence while Ren ran to the kitchen to make popcorn. He was humming softly. It's a great activity to do after you brutally murder somebody. Everybody knows that. Eventually, the warm smell and sound of kernels giving in to the heat reached me. He yelled to me, "What kind of movies do you like?" "A romance. You like those too?" He returned with the popcorn and began to rummage through a cabinet. Romance. Don't have too many of those, unfortunately. Oh, I watched him pull out an unlabeled disc. I have a better idea. The thought of protesting was immediately replaced by the still too fresh memory of Lawrence's face. Sure. He drew the curtains and turned down the lights. Now, it's a little on the, He fiddled with the machine, trailing off and mumbling. Is this one of Strade's snuff films? Where he puts on the mask and then sets up the camcorder and... Yikes. I mean, I really didn't like them at first. He got it working and flopped down beside me. But they really grew on me. He rubbed my leg. I'm sure you'll like them too. I flashed him a nervous, small smile and returned my attention to the TV. It looked like some sort of home video. I squinted in the darkness before the room in the video suddenly brightened. Yeah, it was a person tied to a chair. I felt a bit sick, once again, being forced to think of Is this a joke? He was smiling and crunching on a few kernels of popcorn. The person in the chair was clearly distressed, and their face was hidden under a bag. Another stranger appeared on screen. It was hard to identify much about him since he was wearing a bandana over his face. The stocky man greeted the camera cheerfully. I could tell he was smiling even though only his eyes were showing. My stomach turned as I felt more and more nervous. Ren continued watching as if it were any other movie. I was about to ask who he was before the man on screen spoke again. Oh, you guys are pretty excited this morning. He seemed to be addressing something beside the camera. A laptop? He was reading something. No, we can't touch the eyes yet. How is she supposed to see us having fun first? Oh, yeah, that's a better idea. You're a real gentleman, Wound Fucker 88. I curled into a ball. Something about the man's laugh sent a shiver down my spine. My fears were soon realized as he withdrew a large hunting knife. He touched the woman's hand and I could hear whimpering inside the sack over her head. Her whimpering turned into a scream as he slammed the knife down, severing her pinky. I realized that the scream from the TV wasn't the only one in the room and I clamped a hand over my mouth. I turned to Ren, horrified to see him still completely relaxed. Who is that guy? That's Strade. He smiled wistfully and popped another kernel in his mouth. This used to be his house. All this stuff was his. He took a moment to sigh softly. He used to make money like this. He gestured to the screen as a woman kept screaming. I was trying to ignore it. He wrote all of his passwords and stuff on paper. So everything's mine now. I gulped and glanced at the screen. Strade was lifting her shirt and the blood. Ugh. I turned back to Ren. He understood things. He taught me things. And he took care of me. Ren's grin glinted from the light of the video. Just like I'm gonna take good care of you. Something changed in Ren's expression and I realized that I wasn't hiding my fear. He went silent and turned off the TV. Are you afraid of me? Yes. Still? Yes! No, you literally just showed me a snuff film and said you were going to take care of me the way that man took care of you. And that's supposed to be comforting. Don't lie to me. I only saw him reach for the smaller remote out of the corner of my eye. I fell to the ground and moaned in pain. I guess you won't learn just by watching. Oh, he started to drag me. His sharp claws in my leg kept me awake for only another couple seconds. Oh, I got some of my sanity back. Welcome back to the world of the waking, and now he's gonna torture me. Nah, son, I'm not taking my clothes off. Oh, so he kills me. Tight. Okay, so let's see. Turn it the F off. I'm trying to help you understand, Cece. I tried to speak without trembling. Understand what? This is sick. What we did to Lawrence? I couldn't help but start to cry. He went silent and turned off the TV. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw him take out the smaller remote. Oh, so now he's just gonna do it anyways. Alright. Make a break for it! He kills us. We're doing great! So I guess we'll just keep watching it. I didn't want to say anything anymore. I just hugged my knees and watched the scene on the video unfold. The man kept checking what I assumed was some sort of chat room. I guess he was streaming it at the time. I didn't dare look away. He cut her fingers off. Then he carved lines in her chest, showing her to the camera. She was screaming and begging him to stop. She also called the people in the chat room all sorts of names. He just laughed and kept mutilating her. He had a power drill. He was lowering it into her mouth. Ugh. My trance broke and my eyes shot to REN. Popcorn is mostly air. This part makes me hungry. He patted my knee and I stared, bewildered. I'll be right back. He skipped off towards the kitchen. Something small and quiet at the back of my head told me that I didn't have to watch anymore. I let go of that something and turned my face back to the screen. There was blood all over her now, and the man was unzipping his pants. Yay. I watched dully. Then I felt REN sit back down beside me. I turned my head, no longer afraid. What is that? He clawed open a plastic-wrapped package of supermarket meat. Or meat byproducts. Chicken hearts. Want one? What? It felt so much better not to be afraid. Yes, please. He lit up and picked one out, then held it to my lips. Can't knock it till I try it. It's raw. I accepted the small, bloody organ and chewed it loudly. It was still cold from the fridge. Well? I was barely aware of the grisly scene on the TV anymore. I licked blood from my lips and nuzzled closer to him, feeling his tail wrap around me. Maybe it'd be better warm? Oh, you're absolutely right. He hugged me close. I knew I never wanted to leave. Okay. So in this part, we discouraged crying, but we didn't do the other two, so I guess let's do that. You can cry all you want, REN. I leaned down to him and stroked his head. I like it. And then we just torture him anyways. Okay. So if we pick soothe, I reached down to pet his hair and ears. He was shaking. It's okay. I stood and stroked his hair patiently. Eventually his sobbing turned to sniffling. I could tell he wasn't really convinced, but he became quieter. I stood up straight and then tortured him. Okay. So he's saying that he never killed anyone before Lawrence, and we did this one, he killed us, and we did this one, and we got some endings out of that, but we didn't do this one, so neither have I. Is that a joke? I shrugged and let out a small, awkward laugh. He joined me and relaxed a bit. I guess we're both criminals now. Smooth criminals. Well, this house was made for people like us. I looked around at the seemingly pleasant room. It's not so bad, huh? No. And we have each other. Yeah, about that. We got each other. Best buds. I'm not. He started crying. I called him a monster this time. I was just so... Which is weird because I did it before. Like, I was just going through all the options, and I, like, 99% sure I called him a monster before, but then I was like, oh, we haven't gotten these dialogue options, so... Oh. I was so lonely. He broke down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. I flinched as he lifted the remote, but he pressed a different button. I heard a metallic click, and the collar around my neck sprung open. It fell to the floor in front of me, and I looked at Ren in surprise. You need to go. I almost wanted to comfort him, but my survival instinct told me that this chance wouldn't last. You're right. I am a monster. I took a step backward. Go! He screamed at me, and I turned on my heel. I ran to the door and stumbled outside. I ran until I couldn't anymore, and I never turned back. So this is when he had that stupid fucking nail gun. And we just obeyed last time because he has the fucking remote. So, nah, fuck you. I kept my knees pressed together. I'm not going to. I coughed and wheezed in pain. My legs collapsed uselessly to the sides. He crouched between my thighs. So does he just do it anyways? I guess, yes. I sure do love you. Absolutely. Thank you so much for what you just did. It 10 out of 10. I kept my eyes on his, even as tears streamed down my face. Suddenly, he relaxed. I guess I'll give you a break. He stood up and pressed his foot between my legs. I cried out at the pressure on my damaged flesh. Even if you're lying. He moved his toes, eliciting more agonized whimpers from me. We have all the time in the world to make it true. I cried and shivered. I'm never going to leave this house. And you got a new piercing. Yay. So that's all of them. But why doesn't it have a... Why don't we have a thingy like that? Right? That's all of them. Well, we're missing one from Vincent. We have all of Lawrence. We have all of Ren. As far as I know. So all we have left is Kane. And then that wraps up the game. So, see you then.
I feel your rage across the room.